Hi and welcome to today's Facebook Live. My name is Jenny McCormac and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is the 4th of October, and just as a quick reminder, we do have free shipping today on all orders over £60 or €75, depending on whether you're in the UK or Europe. And that's for orders placed up till, I would say 10:30. Technically it's 10:50. But I never trust those last few minutes of the day. So if you do have some items that you have on your wish list, or you want to stock up with cardstock, embellishments or glue, then today would be a good opportunity to do that, because you will have free shipping. I'm just going to plug my phone in, as I've realised it hasn't got much charge. Apologies. That's better. So, welcome to our Facebook Live today. If you joined me yesterday, you will have seen me use this stamp set for the first time. It's called, as you can see, Simply Fabulous. And it features some really nice sentiments and some nice bold flowers. I've just realised that these three little flowers go on these stems here. I thought they were hearts, and then I realised that they're actually flowers that fit on there. And this one here fits in the centre of this flower. So, oh yeah, only just spotted that. So yesterday we created this card here just by stamping some of those lovely flowers in polished pink on some white card. I used the sentiment, as you can see, just saying hello. I also stamped, not you can see it in any detail, but I stamped the flower behind on my piece of polished pink card. And then I just added some gems in the middle of those 5 flowers. I popped a few flowers on the inside, and also, of course, on the envelope. Today I thought I would case one of the samples in the catalogue. This is very similar to one on page 40. And what I'm going to do is do some heat embossing today. With some white on blue. I think this would also look nice as just blue on white as well. So let me show you what components I have for our card. So I'm going to use a piece of Starry Sky. I'm actually going to use it in this horizontal format. And what I've got is a basic white card. I'm going to do a bookfold card, and all I've done is scored this in half and then scored again just on the front piece at 3 centimeters, and I'm going to glue this down so that you end up with this little book effect. But what I'm going to do is stamp this piece and then cut it into 2 pieces to fit on the front of my card. So hopefully that will all work, but I'm going to stamp it as one and then cut it up. Hi Babsy, I hope you're well, and I don't know if you're still with Sue or not, but if you are, do say hi from me. So the first thing I'm going to do is take our embossing buddy and run it over this piece of Starry Sky. I do like this blue. It's just a little bit lighter than Night of Navy, so it's not quite as harsh, and I'm using this to prevent too much static being transferred. And then I'm going to ink up my stamps in Versamark ink and apply the heat embossing to that. Okay, so I'm just going to use a variety of stamps, and don't fall over. I've treated myself to a new Versamark Stamp Pad. Somewhat different to my others. I just thought it was about time. I won't throw the other ones away because they can be topped up and they're perfect for using for classes and things, but I thought it was about time I had a new one. And so what I'm going to do is select some of the stamps and just stamp, I think, all the way over this piece here. And I like to start with the larger stamps first and then work smaller, because you can fill in gaps with the smaller stamps, but obviously you can't with the larger ones. So I'm going to use this one here, which actually is the one that I just pointed out that has flowers to match, but I'm just going to do this as is. Okay, hopefully you'll be able to see this. As it's dark card, you'll be able to see the Versamark image on there, like so. And the nice thing about a new ink pad is it's lovely and sticky. So I'm just going to go all the way over, rotating the stamp, rotating the paper, so you don't end up with them all in the same direction. Okay, I think that'll do for that stamp. Let's have some of those nice big bold flowers. What I do need to do is make sure that's clean, or I'll end up with a contaminated ink pad on its first outing out. Okay, so I'm just going to dot these around. So if you follow my Facebook page, you will see that we have some new kits that have arrived today in the warehouse. So I hope you'll take the opportunity to have a look at those. Let's just put one more of these on. Okay, let's add, I've got this little set of leaves. Like so. And I'm just trying to give some space between them, but I'm trying to keep it fairly even right the way through. And you do want to make sure you go off the edge. This, to be honest, this looks nice even just as it is, but hopefully it'll look even better with the heat embossing. Okay, let's pop one in here. So, and then I've got this set of 3 leaves that has no stalk. So I'm just going to pop a couple of these in. Like so. And then finally I've got a single leaf that I'm just going to use if I've got any more obvious gaps. Luckily not too many. This is where the little stamps in the sets are really, really useful and often overlooked. Okay. I think that will do. So I'm going to tuck my ink pad away, and then I'm going to pop some white embossing powder onto this. Now what I should have done is found my little hot tub to put them all in, but I'll just use a spare piece of paper. I've got a cat approaching, and I haven't got a spoon for some reason either. So just going to add this like so, and then heat set it. So this ink will stay wet for a fair amount of time, not forever, but for a fair amount of time, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. That's the effect I was looking for. Okay. Right, just going to pour this excess away first and pop the lid on it so I don't get either cat's paws or tip it up myself. And then I'm just going to carefully flick the back of this piece here. Now I can just see that I've got a little bit extra here, and normally a little paintbrush is useful, or if I could find the brush that comes with the set, that would be useful. So all I'm going to do is just scratch that little bit there. And then flick it. Okay, now I know that I'm going to trim down the edge and across one side, so if there's a little bit extra there, I'm not unduly worried. So now what I'm going to do is turn my heat gun on, let it come to heat, and then I will grab my tweezers. These are great tweezers because they have ceramic handles and they grip really tightly, and you release them to grip so you're not holding on to them. Just going to heat up my heat gun just off camera. And you want to make sure it's nice and hot before you pop it on your card. There we go. I'm hoping it's not too noisy. So you want to work steadily, and I like to just work it up and down. Piece of card. So there's a fair bit of embossing on this one, but just taking my time to heat it up. and you're looking for the whole thing to be glossy right the way over. There we go. If you've got any dull areas, that means you haven't heated it enough. If I bring that up to the screen, hopefully you can see that's nice and shiny and glossy as well. Really pretty effect. So the idea I got from the catalogue, they use different colours. I think they may have used Mango Melody, but I thought I always like blue and white. It's a really nice effect. Okay, let's have a look at our card. So this is our base card, and what I'm going to do now is cut this piece down, and by my calculations I need it cut to 10 centimeters first, so they're both of the pieces are the same height. So I'm just going to pop it on my trimmer, sorry about the reflection, measuring that at 10 centimeters. Like so. And then I want one piece that is 2.5 centimeters. I'll take this one here, like so. And then the other piece is 11.35. Hopefully I've measured that right. You can keep the strips because they will fit potentially inside of the card. And let's have a look and see how that fits. Hopefully I measured it correctly. So I've got one piece on there and one piece on there. So that is the piece that I've cut off directly. So you could either choose to have it following through, or you could rotate either one. It's entirely up to you. I think I'm going to have those following through. So I'm going to glue those down. I'm going to add a sentiment and some ribbon. So I've got Starry Sky ink to match and coordinate with my coloured card, and I've got a small banner cut from the Stylish Frames dies, and I'm going to use Let's Celebrate here, and I'm hoping it will fit on there, which it seems to. So I will try it first of all on my paper. So this is Let's Celebrate, could be used for anything. Oops. Like so. Yep, that will do. And I'm just going to stamp it straight onto the front. Fingers crossed, hold your breath. No, don't. There we are. Let's celebrate. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to wipe that down, and I'm just going to put this piece together, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do with the inside. So I'm going to apply glue to these two pieces. Got some here. So a thin layer of glue, not too close to the edge and not too much. And the same with this piece here. Like that. And then I've got my card here. So I think what I'm going to do is adhere this piece first. Just be careful not to put glue on it. And just a little bit on this inside edge of my score line, but not too much. I don't want it to squish out. So I'm folding this flat, so this is called a book fold, really easy to recreate. Like so, and then pop my panel on. I'm just looking to see how that one went, make sure I put it the right way around. Not that it is particularly critical. So I've got a ½ centimetre border between the layers, so each of these margins is about 2.5 millimeters. And let's get this one that way around so you can see a little bit of where I went, where I got a bit carried away. And either put my finger in it or I didn't use enough embossing buddy. That's okay, because I'm going to put some ribbon over that. And I meant to put the ribbon around it before I shut it. So I'm not going to open it again, I'm just going to wrap the ribbon round. But what I do like to do, I knew there was a reason, is sandwich the ribbon in here and then fold it round. But I'm just going to use a little bit of white cotton ribbon to put round here. Okay, let's just trim that off, and what I will do is put a glue dot behind it to hold it in place. Let's grab a glue dot. Okay. So I'm just putting that on the bow. I've made life difficult for myself, haven't I? Right. I'm going to put the bow along this line here so I know where it is. And then put this roughly in the middle. Obviously I can lift it and reseat that if I need to. There we go. Just going to tie that in a bow, I think. Like that. And then I'm going to put my sentiment on with some dimensionals and then add a little bit of bling. Okay, there we go. Just going to trim that one down. So here's my sentiment. It says let's celebrate, and I just want it maybe just here over where those blue, I want it over the blue part in the main. Sorry about Cassie. Just wait a minute, Cassie. Okay. I'm going to pop 4 of these dimensionals on, only because they're small ones. just take the backings off. Okay, so that's how that opens. There's my Let's Celebrate. And then to finish, I'm just going to put some gems on these. Luck would have it, there's 3 centres there. I've got this odd strip that I could put on the inside to coordinate, or I could stamp the flowers in blue. Let me grab some gems. Hi, Carol. Which are somewhere right in front of me. Oh, here they are. So let me see. I might just use a good old go-to, which is our basic gems. And pop them in. I think these larger ones fit nicely in those centres. So you get 3 different sizes on these sheets. 1, 2 and 3. Like so. So there we go. I hope you can see that okay. I could dot a few little ones as well. 1, 2. So I've got 5 in total. Got a gap there. And although there's 6, there's 3 and 3, so that still sort of keeps the rule of odd numbers. And then I'm going to pop this one just on the inside there, rather than waste it, and we're done. So although it took a little while with the stamping and the heat embossing, not a complicated card at all, and you could recreate that just using the reverse. So you could have a Starry Sky base, then white for the layers and Starry Sky ink. So I think as soon as this is finished I might do that, the reverse, and see what it looks like. So there we go. Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry, I've got a cat joining us as well. So that is Simply Fabulous. That's the name of the stamp set, and you can find that on page 40 and 41, I believe, of the annual catalogue, and I think it's £17. So it's a good value stamp set, £17 or €22, depending on where you are. So a very affordable stamp set. So yeah, I'm going to do the reverse of this and pop a photo of the two together and let me know which one you prefer. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, new kits available today. Free shipping available for orders over £60 or €75. And we also have a great new joining kit called Starter Kit Plus, and you get an additional £25 worth of product in your starter kit, so you get £154 of product for just £99. So if that's of interest and you'd like to join our team of creative gems, I can guarantee you a warm welcome. We're very friendly. There's a lot of hobby demonstrators and some business demonstrators, and there's plenty of sharing and fun. So if that's something you would like to be involved in, just drop me a message and I can have a chat with you about it. Thank you so much again. Have a great morning, afternoon or evening, depending on when you're watching. So the free delivery offer finishes here in the UK 10:30 would be my recommendation on Tuesday the 4th of October. So if you're watching this later, I do apologise, that will no longer apply. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Thanks for watching. I'll catch up and craft with you soon. We will be back tomorrow morning, Wednesday at 10 AM if you'd like to join us. Thank you so much. Bye for now.